This is our 20 days.
Hello again, everybody. Welcome to our 20 days. And this will be the first segment we do titled Mentorship Mondays. So our theme of all of our 20 days content is around the idea of being Christ in the moment, being the right people in the right place at the right time, whether it be people being put into our lives or us being that person for someone else. We're going to focus on mentorship on Mondays. This will be a regular segment that we'll do, and this is the first one today. And this was something I recorded a couple of weeks ago with respect to a good, dear old friend, Dr. Bob Rounsley, who passed away recently. So enjoy this, and we'll wrap it up after the discussion of Bob. Well, good morning, everybody, and welcome to our 20 days. So picking up on this theme that we like to talk about here is, right people being in the right place at the right time in your life. I'd like to pay respects to a man who recently passed away, Bob Rounsley. Bob was a PhD chemical engineer, worked for the Mead Corporation. I was in Chillicothe, Ohio. I was fortunate enough to work with Bob something on the order of 10 years. The 10 years or so that I spent working at the R&D lab for Mead in Chillicothe. Bob was maybe the smartest human being I ever met. That isn't the tribute. The tribute is the man was just wonderful at imparting information to people that were clearly less intelligent than him. He never made people feel that way. But he was just, I remember very specifically, we were working on a project where we were trying to figure out where certain vibrations were originating on a paper machine. And these paper machines run at 3,000-4,000 feet a minute. They're 300 inches wide. You're dumping all sorts of wood fibers and water, and there are vibrations you expect where what's called the Fordrinier area, where you shake a screen and this water falls through and the fibers stay put, and that's basically how paper gets made. But if you've got some other item on the paper machine vibrating, then it imparts characteristics to the paper that are undesirable in many cases, certainly unexpected. So we were working on a project to figure out how to diagnose this problem. And in Bob's case, he was explaining to me something called a fast Fourier transform, which is a mathematical technique that is often used against what's called time series data, which is essentially what we were talking about. So what you're looking at is, characteristics of the paper and the paper machine at various points in time as it moves down, from one end of the paper machine to the other. And I've never thought of myself as being dumb, but I certainly had a hard time grasping how this particular mathematical technique worked. This would have been somewhere in the late 80s, early 90s, something like that. And computer technology had advanced far enough that even on microcomputers, like a IBM PC type of machine in that era, would have available for it pre-packaged software components to do certain statistical analyses, including Fourier transforms. So I had done the coding work to integrate those modules into another program that would analyze this data, but I didn't really understand what it was doing or how it was doing it. And Bob was just fantastic he would take a swing at explaining it to you, and if you didn't get it, well, let's just make it personal. When I didn't get it, he'd find another way to try to explain it, find another analogy, find another technique. And if that didn't work, he'd find another way, and he would stick with it until I got it. And I was always thankful for Bob and his approach to things, because he never made me feel dumb. and would ask me questions, which would kind of help me develop my own understanding on my own terms. And Bob was kind of the mad scientist in some respects. I remember working with him years prior to that, where we still had a mini computer, an HP Hewlett-Packard 1000 mini computer that still had a key punch machine. Red punch cards. So for those of you that go back that far, and for those of you that don't, look it up. And he'd be typing away, making these punch cards, and you'd hear him every now and then, oh, key punch error. But he would say it 3, 4, 5 seconds before he actually made the error. His mind was that far ahead of what he was doing that he knew that he had already made an error before he made it, which was just always intriguing to me, and it was very consistent. So Bob, I know most of your family is gone as well. You've got children in the area of Chillicothe, Ohio. Thanks for everything you did to me, for being that right guy in my life at that time. Thank you. I met Bob when I was in my early 20s. I think I was 21 years old, actually. And that was just such a perfect time for me to have met Bob. At age 21, you don't know what you don't know. And in Bob's case, the thing he taught me was really humility. Again, I think I said in the piece that he might be the brightest human being I've ever met. But you'd never know it talking to the guy. He didn't hold that over anybody, and would take whatever means necessary to impart some level of knowledge to you. And plus, he was just a wonderful human being. So thanks for watching. And again, we'll keep doing these on Mondays, Mentorship Mondays, and we'll have some interviews with some other folks coming up. So stay tuned, and we'll see you soon.